Hello, I'm Lolly. I'm here with Belle and the Professor and Gentleman, and today we're discussing The Echo of Old Books, a novel by Barbara Davis. I love books. I love books about books. I love books about libraries, librarians, bookstores, booksellers, bookbinders. You get the idea. I love books about books. It's pretty much a guaranteed must read for me. And this book is no exception. It starts beautifully. It's got this gorgeous cover. It reminds me of walking into a used bookstore in a tiny little town where everyone knows everyone and they absolutely know where to go to find the best books. The actual story is just as beautiful as the cover. It takes place in 3 separate time periods, although 2 of them are more prominent than the other. It opens in 1954 when we see a mysterious woman receive a package, and as she opens it, she receives a book called Regretting Belle. Belle, it's not about you. Anyway, the reader immediately understands that this particular book within the book is not going to have a happy ending. Then we move ahead 30 years. We're in 1984, and we meet Ashlyn Greer, who is the owner of a rare bookstore called An Unlikely Story. And she's on the search for more vintage books for her bookshop. She comes across this book, and you realize as she looks at the book, she's looking for the author, she's looking for a publisher, publication date, things like that, that are normal for people who are looking at rare books. You realize that she's a little unusual and she has a unique affinity to the books that she reads. She can actually feel the vibrations of previous owners, the emotions that they have had as they have held these books and read these books in the past. And as she picks up Regretting Belle, she's eventually overcome by the pain and anger and regret that she can feel within the pages of this story. She looks at the inscription and it says, "How, Belle? After everything, how could you do it?" And it just reaches out to her and she knows she has to know more. So she starts searching for more information, which is very hard because there is no author, there is no publication date, there is no publisher. Eventually, she finds the person who donated this book in the first place, and she realizes that it has a companion book, and this book has obviously been written by Belle to the man who wrote Regretting Belle, and she calls him Hemi. She calls her book Forever and Other Lies. In her inscription, she says, "How? After everything? You can ask that of me?" Ashlyn determines that she needs to find out more. So she meets with this man who originally donated these 2 books, and they start searching his family history. Echoes of Old Books gives us 3 stories in one. It has the real-time relationship between Ashlyn and Ethan as they figure out this past history in his own family. It gives us Hemi's story from his book, Regretting Belle. It gives us Belle's side of the story in her book, Forever and Other Lies. It's a very complicated relationship, but you see it in 3 separate forms. It takes place mostly in the early 1940s. Professor, do you know anything about the United States in the early 1940s, late 1930s? I see. Thank you. As Ashlyn and Ethan read Regretting Belle and Forever and Other Lies, they discover that Belle's family was one of those in the group America First. They supported those isolationist policies. And as a result of that, Belle is being forced to marry a person that she's not the least bit interested in order to conserve her father's power, personal influence, enhance finances. Sorry. Okay, so this book is beautifully written. It has a lyrical quality to it that I really appreciate. I was a little frustrated with Belle and Hemi themselves, the characters that are writing these books within the book. The stories dovetail very well together. She has done an excellent job at making all of these stories, all of these characters feel very real, but Belle and Hemi occasionally make me want to strangle them, because I think that if they had just sat down and talked to each other, or even particularly Hemi thinking about Belle and the family that she's in, if they had even just done a little bit of soul searching, a lot of what happened to them might not have happened, but then of course we wouldn't have a story. So, it's one of those, I could see the twist coming, if we call it a twist, a mile away. Ultimately, I'm giving this book 4 beans. It's beautiful. It added to my knowledge of history. It's very well constructed. I enjoyed reading it, but Hemi and Belle were a little bit annoying to me, and I wanted to yell at them sometimes. What'd you guys think? Belle, Humans and Our Wars. I have seen you try to eat the professor. See you next week, everyone. Be sure to catch Raven Knitter's next craft as she tries to keep Samhain from destroying all her progress.